Good morning and welcome to Fairlawn Avenue United Church on this Mother's Day Sunday in May. It's good to be together. I'm glad you're here. The word mother is often used as a noun to indicate a person, but for many of us through life it's experienced in all kinds of ways, through all sorts of people as a verb. We nurture, tend, challenge, birth, and generate and experience all of those things from others as expressions of mothering. It's important to the Christian faith that Jesus had a mother, and his popular piety through the centuries and in the contemporary language found in modern-day novels such as Sue Monk Kidd's The Book of Longings, Jesus is seen as having a deep and intuitive relationship with Mary. We get a sense in the Gospel of Luke, for example, that Jesus drew what we would call emotional intelligence from Mary and resilience. She grounds him. When Jesus speaks of love, and he does a lot, there's a depth there that did not come from reading Torah scrolls. At the same time, Jesus' understanding of family relationships went far beyond biology. As we will see, he called those closest to him simply friends. The photos and the stories that are a part of this service reflect deep relationships of various kinds that we describe as mothering. And some of those do involve actual mothers, but not all. And of course, men have nurtured and cared for and mothered many of us as well. You should know that Eleanor Daley has once again curated an expressive and creative music bulletin to go with this worship service, with audio and video music clips and accompanying notes. And believe me, your experience of worship this Mother's Day will not be complete until that is a part of it as well. Please join me in a prayer of awareness and of opening as we enter into worship this day. Before we were born, before we took our first breath, before the week started, before the year started, before we said, I love you, before we said, I'm sorry, before we figured out who we really are, before we figured out who we want to be, before it all, God, you loved us, unconditionally and freely, fully and honestly, you love us. Again and again, this is where our story begins. Here we are known by name. Here we are welcomed with all our fragilities and strengths. Here we gather with kindred spirits who live life fully, faithfully, imperfectly, painfully, forgivingly, and abundantly, lovingly. Guide us, inspire us, deepen us, comfort and nurture us in this togethered time. Amen. Our reader today is Allegra Swanson.
The Gospel of John is notable for its frequent and very deliberate use of the word friend by Jesus. Being a follower of Jesus means friendship with him and with God. To be a friend is to share a personal, committed relationship and to be let in on the plans and purposes of the other. A core value of friendship is to be willing to deny one's own needs and interests, and even to lay down one's life for one's friends. In fact, the Greek word for friend is closely related to the verb love. It is such a defining feature of the relationships among Jesus' friends and followers that it is the way they should expect to be recognized by others. According to Jesus, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. Our reading is John chapter 15, verses 9 to 17. As the Father loved me, I too have loved you. Remain in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will remain in my love, just as I kept my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I have said these things to you so that my joy will be in you and your joy will be complete. This is my commandment. Love each other just as I have loved you. No one has greater love than to give up one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I don't call you servants any longer because servants don't know what their master is doing. Instead, I call you friends because everything I heard from my Father I have made known to you. You didn't choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you could go and produce fruit and so that your fruit could last. As a result, whatever you ask the Father in my name, he will give you. I give you these commandments so that you can love each other. In this reading, we hear God's voice. God is still speaking. Thanks be to God.
Facebook trivialized and monetized it, but despite that, friend is a word with substance, depth, and clout. In most languages, including Greek, the Greek that the Gospel of John was written in, the root of the word for friend is closely related to the root of the word for love. Friends are people you make a part of your life because you feel like it. There are lots of ways other people get to be a part of each other's lives, like being related to each other or living near each other. But your friends are often not your friends for any particular reason. They're your friends for no particular reason. The job you do, the family you have, the way you vote, the major achievements and blunders of your life. If you're old friends, you know all those things about each other and more, but they're beside the point. Even distinctions of older and younger, richer, poorer, male, female, less or more formal education cease to matter. I call you my friends, Jesus says to those who were gathered that night. We've joined the conversation as Jesus is in the midst of speaking at some length. It's an intimate moment, weighted with emotion, as Jesus, who's just shared the Passover supper with them and then washed their feet, with the poignancy of one who knows they won't be together like that again, speaks of friendship and love and joy. We try to imagine how Jesus' closest followers felt when they heard those words for the first time. Of course he was their friend. They'd been through so much together, years of wandering in the countryside, in villages of Galilee and Judea, homeless, learning from and teaching each other, sharing meals and prayers. They had come to suspect that their companion was something more than he seemed, that he was a great rabbi, a spiritual healer, a mystical prophet, the Son of God. Though that last one made no real sense to them, they were Jews after all, and there was only one God. Yet this companion of theirs knew and loved God and was befriended by God in a way more intimately, more uniquely than they imagined possible. Jesus had brought them to the very heart of God and then revealed that God's heart longed for friendship. They'd heard of this before. Abraham, Moses, and Miriam were called friends of God in the sacred writings. So too were some of the prophets of ancient times. They were more than servants to God. God was their friend. Being a trusted servant was honorable, but friendship, a knowing, loving, free and joyful giving of oneself to another, is God's passionate desire. And now Jesus is saying, I have called you friends. He says this not to special people of the past whose names are held in sacred memory, but to the ragged fishermen and curious women sitting around him and listening to the stories, trusting for the first time that God had not forgotten them. Spirits breaking under the weight of Roman oppression, suffering under imperial slavery. But they were not slaves, not even servants. They were friends of Jesus, friends of God. The mythic story of human origins, of a garden called Eden, pictures a moment of easy friendship, of give and take, and conversation between one named Eve and another named Adam, and God walking in the evening. It captures an ancient longing for connection, for friendship with God. Diana Butler Bass, whose books reflect deep and wisely on the contemporary church in North America, has been surprised by the response to a chapter in her new book, Freeing Jesus, Rediscovering Jesus as Friend, Teacher, Savior, Lord, Way, and Presence. You can guess which chapter. The book is an effort to go beyond the contemporary culture wars, especially in the United States, and to offer a fresh take on the figure of Jesus that is diverse and multifaceted. The book began with the question that Butler Bass says is the most common one that she's asked in her public speaking. How can you still be a Christian? How can you still be a Christian? It's a good question, and one that many of us at Fairlawn have been asked too, or have asked of ourselves. It's a question that people today consider as they wrestle with disappointment and disillusionment in the church, its words, its actions, its leadership. But while many Christians have answered the question by concluding that they can, in fact, no longer call themselves Christian, and who have left their churches, they continue, in many cases, to struggle with leaving faith behind, spirituality. In Freeing Jesus, Diana Butler Bass challenges the idea that Jesus can only be understood in static, one-dimensional ways that have been laid out by others, fixed in place, most often by men in positions of authority that were only open to men. She sets out through personal story, childhood memories, church history, gospel text, and present-day context to persuade us to step away from the religious and culture wars, to see if we can discover Jesus in all his many expressions and disguises, beyond the narrow boundaries and portrayals that we've built that confine him. She urges us to consider a life where Jesus grows with us and provides companionship and direction through life in all of its ups and downs, in his capacity as a friend, as a teacher, as the way, and so on, depending on what our life throws at us. The book reflects Butler Bass's own experience of Jesus as it has changed over the years, viewing him in very different ways at different times, something that would be true of all of our faith development as we mature. She makes clear in response to the ever-present question about how she can still believe that although she is still a Christian, she isn't the same kind of Christian that she used to be, or that others may think or assume she is. The book explores the many images of Jesus that we encounter and that we might embrace through a lifetime, and how we make theology, as I often emphasize as well, how we make theology from the text of our lives in conversation with scripture and poetry and music and the beauty of the world and much more. Butler Bass's goal is to liberate Jesus and to free ourselves when it comes to the compelling and yet elusive figure at the center of Christian faith. And to her apparent surprise, it is the chapter on Jesus as friend that has been most enthusiastically embraced by readers in the months since the book was published earlier this year. Perhaps, Butler Bass has mused, this is because we've missed our friends so much through this whole pandemic experience. Or on the other hand, maybe people are searching for a more approachable, empathetic Jesus than the one who finds his way into divisive, sanctimonious public and recent political discourse in the United States and here in Canada, or in the preaching found in some churches. Whatever the case, it seems that people are eager to talk about the sacredness of friendship, its theology, and the dream of a God who befriends us. Jesus, having called them friends, resumes speaking that night about love. As God has loved me, so have I loved you. They will know we are Christians by our love. Yes, they'll know we are Christians by our love. When I was a kid, we sang it proudly at camp and at youth group gatherings, though there were, to my knowledge, nothing but Christians of one sort or another where I grew up until I was well into my teens, so it was a bit of a non sequitur. What a different world it became as I grew up, a diverse and complex world where the words of the song began to feel at times painfully ironic. They will know we are Christians by our love. When Jesus said, "If you keep my commandments, you abide in my love," what did the disciples think that he meant? Jesus' commandments would have been those Moses carried down the mountain, but with a twist. You shall not steal, give up your coat. You shall not kill, love your enemy. Care for the wounded traveler, deny yourself for others. Find the lost sheep, welcome home the prodigal. Commandments filtered through love become more than a set of rules. They become practices for transforming the world. Love as I have loved you, he says. You know, I know how to contribute to the food bank, or how to bring a salad to a community potluck, or send a check to my preferred charity. But do I know how to love as Jesus loved? To feel that depth of compassion that's gut-wrenching? To experience a hunger for justice so fierce and so urgent? To empathize until my heart breaks? Love, being vulnerable to the world's pain, is hard and costly. No one has greater love than to give up one's life for one's friends. There are many ways, many kinds of friends to sacrifice for, and even at times to die for, in many ways to do it. We remember those who have died in combat and those who died in peacekeeping, those who've died advocating for the rights of others. And today we're conscious of medical and hospital staff and frontline workers diligently taking risks in order to care for others, personal support workers in long-term care homes. Cross-shaped love creates space for life, where it seems that there is none. It makes room for those at risk, who are vulnerable, to flourish. It nurtures friendships and fosters the ability to trust in God's crazy abundance in the face even of death. With love like that flowing through us, we can move from fear to friendship and take the first steps in the healing of the world. And somewhere in the midst of it all, Jesus says, we'll run smack into joy. A joy that is not dependent on happiness, success, wealth, pleasure, or good fortune. Joy that comes to us still, out of nowhere, unawares, as sheer gift and delight. How can you still be a Christian? It's a question worth cultivating. It keeps us honest, open, and grounded. But I think where the question gets it wrong is that it assumes that being a Christian is a thing. It isn't. It's a verb. It's a process. Christian, like friend, like mother, is found in the doing, the feeling, the engaging, the interacting and impacting. In our world, the life of faith is an adventure. We end up called to places we've never dreamed of living and spending time with people we never expected to know, finding our hearts broken and our hope rising nonetheless. We rally for the remotest of possibilities that people will love each other, that community is worth it, that differences fuel our humanity and nurture creativity, that every relationship we invest in or attempt has value. We become agents of reconciliation and healing, and overcome the walls of otherness. We befriend one another. We befriend the world. Keep love alive. Feel the joy. Amen. Our music today is Prayer for Mothers, with music by Donna Butler and words by Kathy Burdette. It's sung by the treble section leads from Fairlawn Senior Choir, along with a pre-recorded children's choir, with a collage of Fairlawners with their mothers, their grandmothers, and children of all ages.
Peace,
through lockdown and closures and isolation, masking and vaccine waiting lists, the life and ministry of our Fairlawn community continues in familiar ways and in some pretty new and impressive ways as well, as we adjust and reinvent the how. Our financial needs through this extended period continue too, so thank you for the many ways you continue to support the ministry of Fairlawn through this time. It is deeply appreciated. And if you need to reach out at any time, the Fairlawn community is here for you. Send an email or ask someone to send it for you. Send it to me, Douglas duCharme, and I can be reached at duCharme, duCharme, at fairlawnavenueunited.ca. All one word, fairlawnavenueunited.ca. And lots more information can be found on our website, www.fairlawnchurch.ca. You know, when we asked, we didn't have to wait very long at all before we heard back from Fairlawners with some pretty powerful stories of mothers of many kinds who've had an impact on our life and on our understanding of Mother's Day. Recognizing that mother is a verb.
Hello, I'm Heather McPherson, and I'd like to tell you a story about a woman who was once my mother-in-law, who was like a mother to me. My own mother was still alive at the time. However, I grew up in a family who lacked the emotional ability to affirm, to support, to even like me as a person. My mother-in-law-to-be, after I became engaged to her son, opened her arms and welcomed me unconditionally. She never had a word of judgment or criticism in the face of my own lack of sensitivity, my anxiety, my rigidity. She had always played the piano in church, but in moving to Florida, as my family had done, she had wanted to have an organ at home to practice and to play the organ at the little Lutheran church where she and her family were now attending. Once she learned that I had taken piano lessons when I was younger and loved the sound of the organ she was playing, she began to show me how everything worked. I would practice every time I was at their home. And one day she asked me if I would like to play the organ for a Sunday service at my now church. I was terrified. No, I said, no way, no, I can't do that. Well, as time went on, and with her encouragement and support, I finally did it and was so relieved and happy that I'd actually played for a service with maybe just a couple of little mistakes. I realized much later how I was longing for the affection and support that only this family and their son at that time could give me. But also, because I had no idea of the back and forth in any healthy relationship, being able to hear and respect each other's needs, I was only able to expect that my husband should meet all my needs, with nothing on my part for him. And so after 2 years of marriage, I told him, "You have to go." I broke his heart. Notwithstanding the divorce that ensued, my mother-in-law never had a word of judgment toward me. I had moved back to Toronto, but whenever I returned for a brief visit with my mother, I would visit with her. She told me she didn't know why, but she felt such a connection with me, despite the divorce, and she continued to welcome me with open arms whenever I was able to visit. She was the one who brought me to church, where I was baptized at age 17, and where I began my faith journey. Thanks be to God.
was kind of available. I mean, I had just finished my degree, it was a 3-year program at Western, so I had just finished. So I thought, okay, I can do this. I knew they were going to be there on their own. I felt, because I was away for those 3 years, I missed a lot. So I was quite happy, I think, to go back and to help. I did everything. I mean, I think I even worked at the time, whatever small jobs came along, but like I took care of the house, bought groceries, lunches, dinners, that whole business. Just made sure everything kind of rolled along. The same thing every mother does, but I was playing the role of a mother, I guess, but I think the most difficult thing was food was always, what's going to be lunch today? What's going to be dinner tonight? I suspect every person who runs a household, that's just up for grabs. Every day is a different thing. You just don't know. You just took care of all the necessities. You made sure everybody had their necessities and crossed your fingers and sometimes hoped for the best. It was a difficult time. Of course, it's a difficult time. So, and I'm not making light of it. I think everybody gets scarred by that. I mean, having a mother who's away in a hospital for basically 2 years, you get on with what you have to do as best you can. I mean, that sounds kind of cliche-ish, but sometimes that's all you've got to hold on to. Just, get up each day and put your pants on and start the day and see where it takes you. I think I was kind of blessed because it wasn't just me taking care of those boys. It was kind of a community, which was kind of nice at the time. I never had to worry too much. I knew they were pretty safe wherever they were going to be. So that was a nice feeling. No, they were easy. I never had to worry about where they were or what they were doing, or if they were bad gangs, or I think I was very lucky because they were good. Maybe we do ourselves a disservice by using the terms mother and father. Maybe it should be more just parent. I think everything worked out for the best. Who knows? It worked out. I think I left it in good shape.
I have the great honor of being able to speak about the extraordinary women in my life who have acted as my community caregivers. I'm talking about the women in my life who are my community moms, aunts, and grandmothers. These incredible women have been my mentors and confidants, my guides and teachers, and have cared deeply about my personal growth, my career, and my hopes and dreams for the future. These women are intelligent, filled with compassion and empathy, have a wonderful sense of humor, and are beautiful inside and out. To Pat Deacon and Marjorie Flower for teaching me great wit and confidence in life. To Sheila Corkle, who holds the title of Honorary Grandmother. To Rosemary Pride, who has taught me that the pursuit of knowledge and pursuing your dreams should always be a goal. To my Dutch grandmother, Lainey, who has taught me that even in your 80s, you should be aiming to walk 12,000 steps a day. Anything less is unacceptable. To my Fairlawn moms, June, Benita, Amanda, Jan, and Kathy Salisbury. To my mothers and grandmothers who have been in my life but are now only in my heart. Cecilia Upton, Denise Graham, Grandma Richardson, Grandma Doe, Nana, and Aunt Joanne. All of these women have inspired me, challenged me, and offer the best kind of love that you can give to someone in life. Unconditional love. I have to say a big hello and a big I love you to my mom, my aunts, and Grandma Jean. Happy Mother's Day.
Let us gather our hearts, our spirits, and gather ourselves in prayer. Loving God of springtime newness, of sky and lake, river, rock, and soil, we're grateful for growth, for beauty, for moments of wonder, for the elegance of newly opened flowers. We marvel at the bright purple of hyacinth and the yellows of forsythia, and the returning dawn chorus of songbirds, for the sound and smell of rain. We have in mind and heart today memories and stories and images of the mothers who are or who have been a part of our living, significant women who have nurtured our life and shaped our values and experience, taught us wisdom, showed us love. Our own mothers and others who, like a mother, strengthened and nurtured and loved us. Bless them. Give them an awareness of our gratitude and our understanding that this is not an easy or a simple thing in life to be a mother, a stepmother, a mother-in-law, a grandmother, or to be like a mother. The relationships can be challenging, the roles and expectations unclear, the emotions complex. We pray that love may be threaded throughout, bringing life and meaning and weaving relationship. In these days, many among us struggle with feelings of fear, worry, and anxiety as this pandemic drags on. We have friends and family members who've become sick, whether due to coronavirus or something unrelated, but with it comes our concern, our worry, often from a distance. We pray for medical care staff, for stretched resources, and for families reaching across generations to provide childcare, to provide support. We continue to pray for wisdom among our leaders, the fortitude to make difficult, informed decisions. And we pray for courage for ourselves and those around us, that we may stay the difficult course for a little while longer. We bring to mind others for whom our concern runs deep and keep silence as we hold them in thought and prayer. God of newness, God of life, touch us with your compassion and with your joy. We pray in the name of Jesus, our friend, whose words and whose way fills the world with your life. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. This afternoon, online from 3 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the United Church of Canada will hold a worship service of apology and lament for the Church's role in coerced adoptions. On this Mother's Day, the Church will acknowledge its role in forced adoptions through maternity homes operated by the Church. During the service, the Right Reverend Dr. Richard Bott, the moderator of the United Church, will offer a formal apology to mothers and all affected by historical adoption practices. For more information, go to www.ucc.ca. united-church.ca, united-church.ca. After our service today, our coffee hour chat, we'll gather around the virtual coffee pot online using Zoom. The details for connecting are in greetings and were included in the notice that you received for this morning's worship service. It all begins at 11:15 a.m., and I hope you will join us for some spirited conversation and discussion. And now, as we move on from this time of reflection and prayer, this time of connection, some words of blessing. In the bulb there is a flower, in the seed an apple tree, in cocoons a hidden promise that butterflies will soon be free. In the cold and snow of winter there's a spring that waits to be, unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. In our end is our beginning. In our time, infinity. In our doubt, there is believing. In our life, eternity. In our death, a resurrection. At the last, a victory. Unrevealed until its season, something God alone can see. We live into resurrection. Go in peace and with joy. Amen.